Yeah, what's going on, people? Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to the Esports Rewind podcast. Same time, same day, every single week. Me and Hunter here talk about a lot of esports and gaming stories, but we always kick it off by reading comments that you beautiful humans leave down below.
It's the most attractive.
Dude, you guys are so good
Out of
looking.
any comment section,
Probably
I can tell.
the best looking ones. Now, a lot of comments about your arms, which I'm kind of jealous of, so gonna kick this one off, but I'm going to read a different comment, though, from Yoshi saying, love to see that Hunter and Jake are in the same financial boat as me. If there's one thing we can always relate to you guys on, it's financial struggles.
Being broke.
You got your...
Yep. High Fives says, hi, Jake and Hunter. You're kind of goated.
Let's go. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Make sure to leave a comment down below. What do you want us to cover in the future? And we hope you all enjoy the Esports Rewind. All right, Hunter, let's start off with a good old heater out there, that being the World Series of Warzone, a great event for multiple reasons. This one to focus on good old Nadeshot, possibly having the worst day a CEO has ever had. If you guys missed the World Series of Warzone, it was dominated by one trio, but 50 were included, so it was great. Despite, again, when you're trying to cover 50 teams, it's very difficult. One of those trios was also led by Nadeshot, who was also a captain of the event. The Captain's Cup side of things, they had an opportunity to actually make some additional income. Nadeshot not only placed dead last of all the captains, he also placed, I believe, 41st of 50 with his trio in the event. And he had a lot to say on stream about this one. Clearly struggling, only playing Warzone twice in the last 4 months, as he says. Also competing alongside two of his COD pros in the Call of Duty League. So they should have been a pretty decent roster. And then to end it all, getting roasted on Twitter by his very own girlfriend and delaying his marriage. It was a heck of a thing also TimTheTatman beat him out both in standings as a captain, as a trio, and in kills.
And now we are joined by the captains. Welcome back, Nadeshot, TimTheTatman, Swag, Aiden, the Dan Dangler. How's everybody feeling?
Not good.
Tense.
I feel great. Thank you for asking.
Same.
I like how Aiden, you're the only one that didn't speak up.
I'm just chilling.
We know how you're feeling.
I'm feeling pretty good. Just gotta stay consistent. Anything can happen in these.
They certainly can.
Good
I mean,
answer,
you're sitting up on top right now to try and stay consistent. Nadeshot, do you want to elaborate on your not feeling good answer?
I'm dead last. My team is dead last. I woke up with strep throat this morning. I'm in absolute shambles. I don't belong in a competitive setting anymore. I'm old. I need to retire. TimTheTatman is better than me at Call of Duty, and this is the worst day of my life. Thank you.
It's just hard to
Sorry,
watch.
I just threw a lot out there.
No, it's okay to say. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I want to respond to first, but it was funny to see. I didn't watch a whole lot of the tournament, but funny to see him on Twitter saying like, this is the worst 8 hours of my life that I've ever had.
He was so open about it.
And then social media was obviously just roast. Like, I feel like he opened up the floodgates almost for people to roast
100%.
the crap out of him. Like, we saw Scump, we saw his girlfriend commenting about the HBR on it and how the HBR was when his life started to go downhill, which is, could be true. We could do an in-depth study about that.
But to your point, he definitely opened the door by saying, you guys pick my excuse. And then he listed off, is it that I played golf? Is it my girlfriend? Was it the fact that I was sick? Like, it's
Which
so...
I think was him trying to kind of flex a little bit that... Because he was like, I'm sorry, I wasn't good. I don't
Build
get
a
to play a
company,
lot.
yeah.
Like, I built a company. I play golf. I have a girlfriend. It was like, okay, Nadeshot, listen, we get it.
You snuck that built a company in there? Oh, okay.
You got a nice life. We know about it. You're negotiating deals, CEO stuff. But it was just funny to see. You can't blame him. I don't think anyone was giving him actual hate for being bad at Warzone.
I think honestly he handled it very well because there's definitely people that respond to these kind of things and they really mean it. Obviously we joke around. I think, Nade's bantered and in the last week or two had some serious responses to me. But I like to joke around about this stuff because he is still prominent in the Call of Duty scene. He is a very well-known CEO and he definitely has his bad days. I wish that there were other CEOs or upper figures of esports orgs who could also do the same because if this was Hex or Carlos or Jack Etienne, I'd be loving to freaking bash with them too because they probably would have a rough go going against Warzone pros and Call of Duty pros when Nadeshot he didn't even practice for the event. Like, what are you doing? What do you expect to happen?
The only thing that was missing from this whole situation, would have made it just perfect, just the perfect spice, would have been Nick Merckx.
I know, dude.
Being
Sorry
in the
for yelling,
tournament.
folks.
No, it would have been perfect for multiple reasons because didn't Huskers team win?
Yes.
So having that drama going on,
Little
and
love
having
triangle.
the Nadeshot drama going on, and now that Nick is a co-owner, technically of FaZe.
We're desperate for views. We love the fact that Nade beefs with Nick beefs with Huskers. Huskers and Nade don't really have a relationship, so we'd love to see anything of them intermingling.
A Nadeshot Huskers team. What if Huskers had been on Nadeshot's team?
Stop it. We're obviously desperate for views around here, but still a great World Series of Warzone. Not so much for 100 Thieves Nadeshot. Twitch getting a little frisky. That's a bad word choice to start this one off. Twitch streamers getting frisky, and Twitch now responding. Yes, we got to talk about that being Amouranth and Indiefoxx. A couple more 3-day bans, which went viral. Of course, you know, me and you were actually drinking together when this all happened, and we tweeted out. And it took off because people were so rejoiced that Amouranth and Indiefoxx had finally been banned. 3 days later, they are now unbanned, following probably some of the weirdest things that I've ever seen on. Probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen on Twitch was mainly Amouranth taking on this new animal mask meta while holding an ASMR ear mic, don't know what to call it, and then deep throating that sucker like her life depends on it, just yuck, yuck, yuck. To which Twitch finally responded and just gave them a pretty light 3-day ban.
People rejoiced, like you said, at first, and were also very sad at the same time because it was like, yes, finally, Twitch is taking action and banning these things that are obviously sexualized. And then everyone was like, but it's only for 3 days. This doesn't seem to mean anything at all, and neither Indiefoxx nor Amouranth are concerned about it and treating it as a weekend vacation for a few days. And so people are a little upset. And also, we're happy, which is so complicated.
I thought you were going to talk about the people out there that they do have a lot of loyal viewers that were like, God, dude, what am I going to do for?
That's true, too.
What am I going to do for 72 hours, dude? Good thing I got those VODs like to go back to.
3 days?
They delete them. I'm sure people out there recording them like
definitely.
crazy. But yes, we find out 3 days later they're unbanned, which a lot of streamers, not just xQc, but many streamers out there pissed off because it's been kind of a known behind the scenes thing that for most Twitch streamers, if you have a ban history, so the more you get banned, and especially for repeat offenses, you are supposed to fear that your next ban will be lengthier. It'll escalate because Twitch is trying to teach you what you can and cannot do. So let's say xQc all of a sudden is nip slipping time and time again. He is supposed to know that after that first time, the next one could be more harsh because Twitch said, you can't do that. Learn. And next one's going to be a bit more harsh, which clearly is not the case now. So nobody knows like what Twitch mods are doing.
And let me get on my pedestal for just a second on this because people, and we've made a few videos about this because there's been updates. People are always going to ask, why are you talking about this? Why? Why does anyone care about this? It's not esports.
We love our jobs
Why?
and we want to keep them.
That's true. But to me, it signals a lot of stuff in this gaming industry because Twitch is so focal for gaming in general, which includes esports of, hey, this massive platform that so many gamers are making a living on is actively acknowledging a brand risk on their platform and not getting rid of it, giving them 4th, 5th bans for only a few days. And that could lead to advertisers pulling out of the company and not advertising, which would mean other streamers would lose money from
Which
it.
overall impacts the gaming space.
Yes, gaming, esports. And so it could ripple effect so far.
And we've been talking about Twitch for a long time. I think, yes, you know, we love the comments. We love you guys. But I think a lot of long-term viewers know that we will always talk about streamers, gamers, and esports. We can't just focus on one or the other. And
Right.
at the end of the day, we love great talking points like this because you do get reactions from more esports and gaming side folks who are on the same platform as Amouranth and Indiefoxx. And it's always been an interesting story to talk about Twitch. I've talked about them so many times with their ban histories. So when it comes time for this, Amouranth and Indiefoxx are handling this like geniuses, and that's ruffling a lot of feathers, and it's creating a lot of questions for the future of this platform that, as you said, is such a huge focal point in gaming and where we go from here. And very briefly, got to give you guys a response on this as well before we head into some more crazy Call of Duty stuff. It's going to be xQc, one of the biggest streamers on the Twitch platform, giving a response to those 3-day bans, to which he was clearly pissed off. Now, he kind of was saving face a little bit, not wanting to target Indie and Amouranth on purpose, or female streamers in general, because for obvious reasons, you don't want to start that kind of war.
Yeah.
He was going against Twitch moderation for the examples we just listed about how the heck a 3-day ban was justified when he himself before, and he also openly admits that he's definitely had some Twitch favoritism his way in avoiding bans or getting shorter length bans, but he also references times in the past where he has done things multiple times and feared that he would be given a permanent ban at some point. Meanwhile, you got Twitch 3, 4, 5 times in a row for the same or similar offense to these streamers who are bending the rules, giving a 3-day or 24-hour ban, and it never escalates. It never gets worse. To at one point he just goes, "What the heck is going on? What the f is going on here?"
How does that make any? Listen. I'm actually gonna get departnered if I talk about this. Dude, I'm not gonna say anything about this. I can't. This is the. Dude, what the f? Yo. Hey, dude. Thought I had it. Dude, 3-day ban?
The easiest examples that we like to reference all the time are obviously Mango and Forsen of what would happen if one of those two people, and we use them just because they've been banned for certain content before that wasn't even necessarily, well, Mango's was on purpose, but like there's a lot of stuff surrounding it. But it'd be interesting if they did the same thing, even if they just put yoga pants on. I could see them getting banned for a week.
For a bulge, yeah.
It's just for like, oh, that looks inappropriate.
And there's a lot more examples, but those are the ones that are pretty out there and known.
And so it's weird to think about that disparity of depending on who you're looking at and the favoritism that you see and how Twitch is handling that. It makes it uncomfortable, I would say, for other people on the platform when you think, oh, they might be showing more favoritism to that person versus me. And that's just not a comfortable place to be in.
Again, I do give credit to Indy and Amouranth the way they handle this because they are playing the game. They are bending clear rules that nobody else has been able to bend. And although that's going to ruffle and piss people off, it's not their fault. It's ultimately, like xQc says, it is Twitch's job to step in. Yeah. Amouranth and Indy led the hot tub meta to the point where a new category was made. When they were done with that, and sad being all soaked all day long, they moved on to an already existing category of ASMR, made it increasingly sexual, and then all of a sudden added animal masks because they realized, oh, Twitch is not heavily backhanding us. They're giving us 3-day bans, of which we can easily make up for that. Yeah, they might demonetize us, but the attention that we are getting is well worth all of the punishments that they've handed out so far. So until Twitch really steps it up and puts a slap on them, that's more than 20. That's
puts a slap on them.
Puts a nice little. And slaps them for more than 24 hours or 3 days, it's going to continue. I think a lot of us understand that. But what situation does Twitch put themselves in if all of a sudden you ban Amouranth for 30 days?
Yeah, and that's what Nick Polam says. His most frustrating part is these people that are habitually getting as close as they can to the line, to that edge.
They know exactly what they're doing.
They're trying to get as close to sexual content without actually having sexual content, which is kind of bold to say, but I think is the truth. And then they promote their other content somewhere else. And Nick makes the point of like, well, how are we letting people who are habitually trying to press that line and get as close as they can, how do we let them on the platform when there's people who do things by accident and get banned for longer?
Yeah.
It's just not, it doesn't make any sense.
You really got to put yourself in the shoes of the longtime Twitch streamers who have experienced such different treatment. And then one last thing, once Corinna's Facebook contract is up, why would she not go right back to Twitch and just abuse the heck out of a system that has become
the third
the triangle of queens of ASMR. What the frick's gonna happen? I don't know what Twitch is doing. Either does xQc. We'll see what happens next time. A true test of friendship, Hunter, is when one friend denies a big old bag and then dresses up as the other friend. If you know, you know. We're talking about ZLaner this past week. What a guy that I want to talk more about in the future because he is just such an interesting and talented character that also faces cheating accusations and other things in Warzone. And kind of looks like you, but he can sing, probably dance, and he can play Warzone like no other. A guy who is also known to stream on Facebook. That contract coming up. He's been streaming on Facebook and YouTube, pulls audiences wherever he streams. And then for World Series of Warzone exclusive on Twitch, he streams on a third platform just for the event. Pulls great numbers, by the way. And whilst looking for a contract to go somewhere new, he has stated that Twitch will not be on the table because his partner is Dr. Disrespect. And so for the World Series of Warzone, one event on Twitch, he showed up and cosplayed his very own partner, Doc.
It's out of my head, but I'm still in control.
Turn this AC off because I'm getting a little feedback in my mic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in here today. I really appreciate it. We had to put a little bit of respect on somebody's name, someone that we all may know that can't really do this himself over here, but we're going to be doing it here today for him.
I'll say a lot of people are giving ZLaner much due respect for this action of especially the denying a Twitch contract more or less. Because when you compare it to the people who used to play with Doc, like Tim, so on and so forth.
Whoa. Don't you dare.
I know, but people...
We're going to get Tim and Nick fans in here, and they're going to freaking be mad at me somehow.
But that's what people say. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying what other people say hey, why, if they're really friends, why didn't they go over there with him to play? Like, why didn't they support their friend by switching platforms and force Twitch to make a decision? And to their responding to that, it's like, well, that's a whole other beast of they have their own contracts, they have their own success. And ZLaner was already on another platform. Yeah. It's not like he was having to switch over.
Very, very different stories. We're not trying to get into that debate right now, okay?
Just interesting because a lot of people are giving him that respect, and giving him respect for not switching over. But also it's like, well, he was already supporting his friend, and he just kept supporting him, which is awesome to see. I really do like that. I really do like that he pushed the boundaries on Twitch, too, of like, not only am I going to deny this, but I'm going to come out and flex on him and dress like Doc.
Yeah, and there are so many reasons why I don't blame Tim or Nick, not to mention, we don't want to go into it too
right.
in detail.
Neither
I know okay. You don't, but there are comments that they face every day saying they don't support Doc, which is crazy because I still consider them, what we know, to be very much friends. Yeah. Like, Doc has told them not to play, that he can't play with them, and they can't play with him. We know that. And so at the time, you got to imagine Tim and Nick were getting probably a lot bigger Twitch contracts that they signed into. And not to mention as well, Doc built up Z. Z was very popular, but him and Doc together, especially for Z's side, Doc gave him an opportunity that is so valuable for hopefully the rest of his streaming life. And Z clearly recognizes that. But, that's easy to say. But when push comes to shove, and there's probably, a six-figure contract in front of you, maybe, a good-sized contract, to really turn that down, that does take a good amount of respect. Agreed. And then, of course, to do it in the fashion of dressing up as Doc on a platform he's permanently banned for, it just makes for an overall great story and a true testament of that continuing friendship. And after a one-year hiatus following accusations from offline TV, it is the return of Fedmyster to both streaming and content creation. This one certainly up in the air for a lot of debate, already facing a lot of backlash, a lot of rifts out there. And when it comes time for the YouTube comment section on Fedmyster's channel, how Twitter took it, how Twitch took it upon his return, I believe nearly breaking 50,000 viewers and also dropping a video, which, facing a lot of different reactions, I think would be a fair way to say it.
It's a difficult situation. Even
you got a
to
puppy?
Speak on. I know.
All good, bro. You
right.
ripped? For sure.
He comes back with this cinematic video that is reminiscent of slightly musical Albert's video, who did the same thing with a return and had another like, oh, I'm back. Look at this nice video. And so he makes this video, releases it, says, I've been working on myself. I was in a really dark place. Now I'm taking these self-help kind of classes and in these groups. And then I got a dog, which a lot of people like to make fun of him, including that. And then I started working out. And now I'm back. I'm better than ever. I'm myself. And that's kind of where we leave it at. He does apologize in the video as well as say, hey, I know I made this, but I also know this doesn't mean anything. I know actions are going to speak louder than words in this situation. And so it's complicated to take a side on because I think I respect it. And I also question it, just like everyone else. There's two very distinct sides.
And I think you're meant to, right? Because I think we're all left wondering, we weren't in the shoes of the victims and those that accused him of unwanted, unwarranted sexual confrontation, and apparently on multiple circumstances. So it ultimately comes down to you, the viewer. A lot of us are going to have personal stances, very subjective case here of how you feel. Is a year away, is that punishment worth the crime? And that's where I don't really have a stance on this one. I expected him to return eventually. I do think a year is a long time to take a step away, and he does mention he's been getting help, so I hope that is true.
Right.
For me, I'm actually most curious, what those who accused him are going to say now, because he is back on a platform. He is seemingly just back to being pretty darn popular. He'll be getting viewers both on YouTube and Twitch, and that can rub people the wrong way, especially those that had previously poor experiences with him.
It's complicated too because a lot of the issues when he left were about self-image, I'll say, and how people were seeing him and talking about him. If you go back and watch those clips from Skara or Pokey, a lot of what they're saying is this was going on, and then we confronted him, and he was just worried about what people were saying and how people were talking about it. And so if you throw that into the mix, that could get really complicated. Conspiracy theorists of like, man, he's just doing this, putting this out there for the image, and he wants to look like he's coming back and he's gotten better, this, that, and the other. But I like to be an optimist, right? Like, I want to believe that people can change and that people can be good even if they weren't before. And so I do want to trust that, hey, he's trying to get better. Like, none of this stuff was just for image. And as much as people want to make fun of him getting ripped and getting a dog, those are signals of, hey, I've been taking care of myself. I've been trying to grow in different ways, and I took a year away, and here I am. I'm back. I'm going to try to do it. I'm sorry. And then see what happens and let my actions speak louder than words, so we can really just watch and see what happens.
Yeah, and now we await if there will be other responses out there, and we'll see what Fedmyster's next moves are. I think a lot of us can probably agree you only get that one chance, especially with something that serious. So hopefully times have changed, and I'm sure people will continue to joke about it, but we'll see what his next steps are. Fedmyster, after 1 year of being away, is now back. There's no shot you and me could afford to take a year off.
Oh, I couldn't take a week off.
Rent would not be paid.
Yeah, no shot.
We wrap it up today with an actual esports story, which we rejoice to see now. Let's freaking go, boys.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of streamer stories, a lot of gaming stories, esports. It's just sometimes, all right, some of these weeks, just all the hot stuff is not directly in esports. This one is when it comes time for Valve and two of their most prominent games, that being Dota for TI-10, the international, and the upcoming CSGO major, both which were set to be held in Sweden. As far as we know right now, the international's not going to be happening, partially because Sweden is not going to classify esports as an actual sport, yet again hindering the gaming space entirely.
Which almost seems silly that, well, silly in two different directions.
No,
I was going to say
Sweden, dude. You're so prominent in esports. Like, what do you... Some of the best esports pros players in the world from Sweden, man.
Right, but I was saying it seems silly that we're asking a country... Like, to say, Sweden didn't recognize us as a sport. My first reaction is, okay, who cares? Why does that matter? Why does that affect anything? But in this situation, it affected so
Freaking
much.
matters.
Because they are trying to get their visas. All these people, international players from all over the country, which especially must be complicated after all this COVID stuff, which
With
had
travel
a lot more
restrictions.
restrictions. And so people are trying to get visas to travel to this international tournament. And if Sweden had recognized esports as a sport, it would have been fine. Stuff would have been easy. They could have applied for visas very easily by saying that it was a sport and they're here for a sporting event, international sporting event. But because they denied it, they are not able to. It's like kind of a hit or miss of whether or not you'll get your visa at this point. And so how can you hold a tournament if
That
you don't
big.
know which players are going to be able to be there, which coaches are going to be able to be there?
I mean, you think about a CSGO major, so many teams, international, so many teams of such diversity, backgrounds, and countries they reside in. You cannot do a coin flip of what teams are going to be able to field 3 or 5, 4 or 5, none of their roster. You simply can't do it because these are the biggest events for both of these esports, a CSGO major and the Dota International. Not to mention the delay of the International previously, you now have a $40 million prize pool, which you can't simply say, all right, whoever shows up competes for the biggest prize pool ever in esports. So I think to keep it short, it really freaking sucks, especially because I believe, we're like a month and a half out of the international and maybe a couple to a few months out from the CSGO major. And now if you're Valve, what the frick do you do? Before we were delaying because of COVID, and now we're delaying because of slightly related pandemic issues because countries won't recognize us as a sport, which is just like, what's happening, man?
Sweden, if you're watching this,
Sweden?
we're athletes.
Where's athletes?
Purebred athletes.
Purebred athletes. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. It truly does suck. We'll see where the CSGO major does get moved, if it does, and we'll see what happens with the international. This is going to be the biggest esports prize pool ever, and Sweden was just like, nah, do it somewhere else.
Nah, not real. Not a sport.
Freaking crazy, Swedes. As per usual, we hope you guys all enjoy the Esports Rewind podcast. If you want to leave a comment down below, make sure it's nice or it can be really freaking mean. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same day. Hunter, why don't you show them the door?
You can be mean if you want to. Just rate us 5 stars. We don't. That's all we want.
Yeah, if
Thank
you leave a like, dude, leave a like, but leave like the meanest comment you can. Trade-offs.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Last one on the camera.